Hey everybody, I'm Axel, the Wondrous Running Witch. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you're all having a wonderful week so far. Happy Halloween, Blessed Samhain, Happy All Saints Day, All Souls Days, Dia de los Muertos, all of the days. I hope everyone is having a wonderful week. Today I'm going to be talking about my favorite deaths in fiction, as it is such an important time for the dead. I thought it would be appropriate. As always, I would love to hear about your favorites in the comments below, and if you could do all the other things to please the algorithm gods, like, subscribe, ring that bell, I would vastly appreciate it. Otherwise, on to today's list. Before we get started, these are the books and TV shows that I will be referencing. If you do not want spoilers for them, I will start with the story title before I reference who's dead and why I appreciated their death. So, I will do my best to add some timestamps. Otherwise, be cautioned that these are the stories I will be talking about and will be, again, spoiling with the death scenes. Otherwise, really on to today's list. Starting at number 5 is in the Mistborn series, so if you have not read it, skip ahead to this time. Otherwise, the death of Kelsier was so unexpected, especially because it happens in the first book. When you're gathering a team, or you have a team that's presented in front of you, you don't expect them to die until the end generally, especially the leader of said team. And so it was really just wild. And when it happened, not only did it subvert my expectations, it was done in such a brutal, savage fashion that I couldn't be anything but satisfied for this death scene, for what it meant for all the characters that have to experience it and have to endure the aftermath. It was just really well done. Coming in at number 4 is in the Avatar: The Last Airbender universe, and so again, skip to this time if you don't want spoilers. Otherwise, even though we do not actually see the death of Monkey Yatso, we feel it so vividly when we find his remains and when Aang just loses it and goes into the Avatar state out of sheer grief and anger. So, though we don't get to see the death scene, so much can be inferred from Aang's emotions and even the background. If you really pay attention, I do think way before Zahir, I am almost positive that Monkey Yatso just threw all the air outside of the room because his clothes aren't burnt and he's surrounded by firebenders. So I think, though killing wasn't in his nature, I think because he did decide to kind of yeet the air out of the room, it was kind of a, I can't live with this decision, but it needs to be done to try and protect others. So he sacrificed himself and kind of just all the air out of the window behind him. But again, so much can be inferred from this scene that it's just wonderful. Even though we don't have to see the death, we feel it so vividly. And again, there's so much going on here. Coming in at number 3 is in the Dragon Prince series. Once again, the writers have touched my heart, and when Azvandom dies, when we see Viren and the king slay Azvandom, not only are we privy to how the weapon was created, which is already fucked up in and of itself, but how he is turned to stone and kind of breaks into pieces as he tries to fly back to his son, who is now abandoned up top of the spire alone, is just heart-wrenching. You cry with him when his tear falls, and it's so goddamn sad, even though his arrogance did kind of start it all. I do see why he was protecting Zadia in the beginning. You know, the golem and that whole thing. However, I almost don't see the difference in killing something for food. That's what they were doing. They were killing something so it could save thousands of people. As fucked up as it is, I think as a ruler of a country, or a kingdom. I think that was the wisest choice they could have made. I know that's fucked up. However, it's not more fucked up than killing an animal to eat it. It's the same principle. We needed it to survive. It was a sentient creature, just like a deer is, or a cow is. And I know there are a lot of people that are against it. I love animals. I try to be a vegetarian. However, we are humans. They are humans and elves and the general humane population. We are omnivores. We are meant to eat meat. It is fucked up, but nature's a little fucked up. So I don't think that Azabanda really should have been so brutal with his try and kill all of the humans, policy that he has. And you can tell that when they go to look for the other dragons that it was a hobby of his to go fuck with the humans. So there's already a lot going on there, and his arrogance cost him the ultimate price. Coming in at number 2 is in the Dresden Files, so skip to this time if you do not want the spoilers. However, when Karen Murphy dies, it is so fast and so realistically, there is no time to process her death. Not in the story, not for Harry, and it leaves you feeling a little numb, like we really just lost somebody, and I don't get that with a whole lot of death scenes. I will feel empathy, I will feel sympathy, and I will get that weird catharsis because it is sad to lose a character almost at any time. But the way we lose Murphy, it was just too real. It was just too visceral, and there was no time to process, because sometimes you don't have time to process. Most of the time, you do. You have a little bit of time because everyone is understanding about, someone has passed. You need time to grieve. But in these types of situations where you don't, it's just when there's too much going on, and unfortunately life goes on, and it's just wounding. It's damaging, it's devastating, and it leaves you feeling numb, because that is the only way you are able to keep moving forward. Otherwise, you're gonna break down. And so, it just inspired such a weird, not even a cathartic feeling necessarily. It made me angry, as if I again had just lost someone suddenly, where you feel useless. And again, I know it's a fictional character, there's literally nothing you could do to save them, but if you know, you don't. If you know, you know, and if you don't, I'm a little crazy. It's fine. Coming in at number 1 is in the Villains Code series. If you do not want spoilers, please skip ahead. I honestly didn't expect to be too tied to any of the New Science Centuries, especially Ike, because he was the most dickish of them all. And when we lose him, when he sacrifices himself to get rid of Alfred, it's fucked up. And just like the last one, it happens so fucking fast. Yeah, you get him going big finish, but Ike! And it just, again, it makes you mad, and it made me a little numb, and I didn't even realize I was this attached to this little asshole, and now he's gone! And now all of his chemistry is gone, all of his potential is gone, and it just... Again, it was really realistic and really well done. I know a lot of people kind of like to have this grandiose build-up to deaths, but when you get these short ones, these clipped ones, these ones that you aren't able to really process, it's just fucked. And even though that is quote-unquote the end of the fight, and so they do get time to process, again, it just happens so fast, and he's gone. So it's not the same. You don't get to reminisce over a body. You don't get to hold them close and grieve. They're gone. And these ones fucked me up. It was really hard to pick between Karen Murphy and Ike. So I think Ike is just a little more fresh in my mind. So I think that's why it's a little more to me. And the fact that he went out in such a way, again, it was really hard to pick which one was going to be which. These aren't in necessarily any like ranking order of what I think is the best. I think each of these offers something different, and they're all just wild. But these are my favorite deaths, the deaths that have impacted me most in the fiction that I have absorbed in the recent years. As always, I would love to hear about your favorites in the comments below. Otherwise, until next week, I hope you guys spread all the love and joy you can. Bye.